Students, in our last class, you have heard about Hamid and his friends celebrating Eid. Hamid's friends were rich. They had money, so they bought sweets and toys from the Eidgah fair. Whereas Hamid, with only 5 pice in his hand, wanted to buy something that would be useful for his granny. Let us now continue reading. After the toys and his sweets, someone buys sesame seed candy, others gulab jamun and halwa. They smack their lips with relish. Only Hamid is left out. He looks at others with hungry eyes. Here, when Hamid saw his friends buying different things, sweets and toys and things like that, he too wanted to have them. So he looked at them with hungry eyes. After the sweet vendors, there are a few hardware shops and shops of real and artificial jewelry. There is nothing to attract the boys' attention. So they go ahead, all of them except Hamid, who stopped to see a pile of tongs. So here the boys, after buying the sweets and the toys, they came across a shop which was selling artificial jewelry. Jewelry means ornaments. As there was nothing to attract the boys, they went ahead. But Hamid stayed back. He stopped in front of a hardware shop to see a pile of tongs. Tongs are instruments used for holding hot objects. It occurs to him that his granny does not have a pair of tongs. Each time she bakes chapatis, the iron plate burns her hands. If he were to buy her a pair of tongs, she would be very pleased. So here Hamid stood in front of the hardware shop and he was thinking about his grandmother. Whenever she made chapatis, she used to burn her hand because she did not have a pair of tongs to hold the chapatis. So he thought of buying a pair of tongs in order to please grandmother. He thought she would never burn her fingers. It would be a useful thing to have in the house. What are toys? They are a waste of money. You can have some fun with them, but for a short period of time. Then you forget all about them. So here Hamid was trying to console himself that toys are of no use. It's only a waste of money. Once it breaks, it's of no use. So he diverted his mind to buy the pair of tongs that he saw in that hardware shop in order to satisfy or please his grandmother. So he asked the shopkeeper, "How much is a pair of tongs?" The shopkeeper replied that it was 6 pice. And he had only 5 pice in his hand. Hamid becomes very sad. He has only 5 pice in his hand. The shopkeeper looks at Hamid's crestfallen eyes and says, "All right, it will be 5 pice. Take it or leave it." Hamid was very happy. He gratefully takes the pair of tongs from the shopkeeper. He carries it on his shoulder as if it were a gun and struts up proudly to show it to his friends. When Mohsin saw the pair of tongs in Hamid's hand, he laughs and says, "Are you crazy? What will you do with the tongs?" Hamid flings it on the ground and replies, Try throwing your water carrier on the ground. Every bone of his body will break. Mahmud says, "Are these tongs some kind of toy?" "Why not?" retorts Hamid. "Place them across your shoulders and it is a gun. Wield them in your hands and it is like the tongs carried by singing mendicants. They can make the same clanging as a pair of cymbals. One smack and they will reduce to dust. But none of them can harm my lion-hearted warrior." So here Hamid was praising his pair of tongs. He says that his pair of tongs are stronger than the other toys. The children now realize that Hamid's tongs are undoubtedly far superior to their toys. Their toys will break, but Hamid's toys will remain as they are for years. Mahmud asked Hamid, "Were those tongs some kind of toys?" To this, Hamid answered that they were also toys. If you place them across your shoulders, it's a gun. Wield them in your hands, and it is like the tongs carried by singing mendicants. They can make the same clanging as a pair of cymbals. One smack, and they will reduce all your toys to dust. But none of them can harm my lion-hearted warrior. Through these lines, Hamid wanted to state that his toys were superior to his friends. He said he could use his tongs in any way, and it would never break. The children now realize that Hamid's tongs are undoubtedly far superior to their eyes. Their toys will break, but Hamid's tongs will remain as they are for years. The boys are now anxious to handle the tongs. In exchange, they offer their toys to Hamid for examination. "What beautiful toys they are! I was only pulling your leg," says Hamid. "How can a pair of tongs compare with such lifelike toys?" But the boys are not convinced. The same boys who did not wish to give or share their toys with Hamid in the beginning, now, when they understood the strength of Hamid's tongs, they wanted to hold it in their hands. Even though Hamid told them that he was only teasing them, but they were not trying to believe. They were not convinced yet. All the same, they wanted to have it. It is 11 o'clock. Those who had gone to the Eidgah have just returned. The village is once again agog with excitement. Mohsin's younger sister runs to him and grabs the water carrier from his hand. As she jumps with joy, the toy slips from her grasp, falls and breaks into pieces. Brother and sister come to blows. Both howl and both get rebuked by their angry mother. Now, all the children, after buying the toys and sweets, they went back to their home. They reached their home with excitement. As soon as Mohsin reached his home, his younger sister grabbed the water carrier from his hand. She was very happy. As she was jumping with joy, the toy slipped from her grasp. From her hand, it fell and broke into pieces. As Mohsin and his sister began to fight. By seeing this, the mother got angry and he began to rebuke the children. Noor fixes a seat for his lawyer, sits him on it and fans him with a bamboo leaf. Is it a gust of wind or a blow from the fan that throws the lawyer to the ground? That is the end of him. Mahmud's soldier survives, but manages to break a leg while guarding the village. Mahmud breaks his other leg so that the poor man can at least sit and do his duty in comfort. Now, let's hear what happened to our friend Hamid. As soon as she hears his voice, Granny Amina runs out of the house, picks him up and kisses him. Suddenly, she notices the tongs in his hand. Where did you find these tongs? I bought them. How much did you pay for them? 5 pice. Granny Amina is angry. What a peculiar child. He remained thirsty and hungry the whole morning, and all he could find to buy was a pair of tongs. She scolds him for his foolishness. Hamid replies in an injured tone. You burn your fingers every day on the iron plate. That's why I bought them. The old woman's temper suddenly changes to love. What a selfless child. What concern for others. What a big heart. How he must have suffered seeing the boys buying toys and gobbling sweets. Even at the fair, he thought of his old grandmother. Granny Amina's heart is too full for words. She breaks down and weeps. It is strange. Hamid, the little boy, has become Hamid the adult. And Amina, the old woman, has become Amina the child. Tears fall unceasingly from her eyes, and she blesses Hamid 1,000 times. Little Hamid, how can he understand the storm of emotions in Amina's heart?